Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 28 of the Redbox Studio Facebook Live series. And my name is Krista. And today I have a guest all the way from Saigon, Vietnam, joining us to talk about her entrepreneurship journey, as well as to talk about her podcast. So today's episode is a little unusual, whereby I'm bringing on a fellow podcaster to talk about her podcast and why she's doing what she's doing for the community in Vietnam. So before I bring her on, I just want to briefly introduce Kelly. So Kelly Vo is someone that I met through a friend. And this other friend of mine is also Vietnamese. So a big shout out to Tran. Tran, if you're watching this or you're watching this on replay, thank you so much for introducing me to Kelly. Before we got onto this schedule for putting on this Facebook Live, I've had a couple of very interesting conversations with Kelly. And she was telling me about her journey to this stage of being an entrepreneur and transitioning out, as well as starting a content platform for the Vietnamese. And her fellow Vietnamese are the people that she has met on her journey. And she's also, how shall I say, she's also someone who is very entrepreneurial. So I was talking to her just now in the back, and then we were saying that, hey, Vietnamese women are just so entrepreneurial. She says, yeah, they are. So without much further ado, let me just bring Kelly Vo on, and Kelly is joining us from Saigon. Hi, Kelly.
Hello, Krista. Good morning.
Good morning. So how are you today, and how's the weather in Vietnam?
Today is Saturday, so it should be a relaxing days after a full busy week. And the weather in Saigon is very nice, sunshine right now. But we entering the rainy season now, so it's going to be a lot of rain in the next few months.
Okay. So Kelly, we're all very excited to hear your story today because it is a two-in-one. I will call it a two-in-one because normally when I bring on entrepreneurs, they are running their own businesses, which is typical. I mean, the businesses and retail or even service-based businesses. But your business is a little unusual, a little different from most businesses that I know of. And that's why we want to get into your story today. But before we get to that place, let's talk about a book that you're currently reading or currently reading on your Kindle.
Yes.
Okay, let me just share that first. Okay. So this is the book, right?
Yes.
So tell us a bit about the book.
Yeah. So you know me, I'm a very I'm a book lover. Like I love reading books. I love learning new things. And especially when I'm doing something new, I always trying to learn about that subject or topic. So right now, as you already introduced, I'm starting my own podcast. And my podcast is focused on storytelling. That's why I have to start reading a lot of book and watch a lot of video about storytelling. And this is the current book that I'm reading now. This book is really good. I only finished half of it. This book written by a person named an author named Stephen Denny. He's actually he used to work for World Bank as a knowledge management, and he explained in the book that at the beginning when he didn't know much about storytelling, he thought, the best way to convince somebody or explain something is using logic and analytical information, data, because that's all about, big institutions like World Bank do. They use a lot of data, they use a lot of analytical information to explain something to you. But he felt like it's not enough because once he has the idea to trying to ask the leader of World Bank to really seriously invest in knowledge management system, so everybody can access to the database and the knowledge of World Bank around the world. He used, a lot of data and everything, but nobody really pay attention. Not many people pay attention. And he started to applying, like he listened to people talking about the power of storytelling, and he started to apply that into his, you know, uh, convincing the leader of the World Bank. And he used one short story of some lady from Zimbabwe sees, as a lot of country in Africa, they got a lot of like malaria, the disease. And there was a lady trying to get the right information, and she couldn't get it everywhere else. But she managed to find it on the website of CDC from the US. That's why he used that story to tell his college and the leaders that imagine all the knowledge from World Bank can be accessed by a woman far away from Africa. How powerful that could be. And actually he convinced them just using that simple story. And I think that's really beautiful, like describe the power of storytelling. If we use it right at the right context, we can really make people really see the vision and also buy into the vision.
Yeah. Wow. That is a great way for us to start our session today, because you just brought in the book that really resonates with our topic, right? So, but before we get into the topic of podcasting, and perhaps some of the audience who are watching right now, they want to know a little bit more about podcasting. Yes, we'll get to that. Okay, we'll definitely get to that. But before we get to that, I want to get into Kelly's story. So, Kelly, how do you get to be where you are today? And what was your life journey like? Okay, let me just unshare this first. Let me just,
Okay.
yeah. So we,
Yeah, that's the great way to start a conversation. What's your story? So, as you already shared with a lot of people before the podcast, this live stream, I was born here in Saigon. My Vietnamese name, actually, I have a Vietnamese name. My Vietnamese name is Tuyên, but a lot of people call me Kelly, so I use that name too. I was born in District 10. Like, we have a lot of district in Saigon, and District 10 is one of the very local district in Vietnam, in Saigon. And my so Saigon, if you had a chance to visit Saigon, there's a lot of like small alleys that link together, especially in the area where a lot of local people live in. So I was born and growing up in that kind of like alley, small alley of Saigon. So surrounded by a lot of people come from different places. Some of them even from Cambodia. It's very diverse, to be honest, and a lot of people like immigrant coming from different provinces. And Saigon is a big city, so a lot of people want to come here to follow their dream or make it here in Saigon. So I seen a lot of things, and actually my alley where I was growing up is quite complicated because immigrants, so you have a lot of issues, gamble, criminal, and I seen a lot of them every day. And I was born in a family where only me is a girl, like only daughter in the family. I have two older brother and one younger. And my parents also didn't go to school. So they didn't really, I mean, they love me. They want me to study because everybody, in Vietnam really believe in education. But my parents didn't know how to support me in terms of guide me for my career path or what I want to do in the future. So I just continue study. And actually, I'm the one who actually finished my college. And I remember back then, a lot of people asked me, did you really have some sort of dream or something like vision about your life when you was a kid? To be honest, no, I didn't have any vision because nobody guided me, and I didn't really know what I'm gonna do in the future. With that environment surrounding me, I feel a little bit also, confused and don't know what I'm gonna do in the future with this kind of environment. And luckily, I managed to finish my school, and
Was it difficult? Like I know you're the first one to go to college in your family, but was it a difficult thing? I mean, like because the environment wasn't that conducive.
Yeah, very very difficult for and a lot of people surprised that I could get away because environment around me not supportive enough. And I remember that I told this story to another podcaster before our interview, is that because my parents didn't have a lot of money. Remember when I was in high school, we have to pay school fee to study, and my parent always paid late because I know they don't have a lot of money. So every time I got like the school fee late, I will be put into a separate room, not allow me to study because I haven't really paid my school fee. So I'm just used to it. I say, okay, fine, no problem, because I know that my parents didn't have money. However, I managed to be a top student in my high school. So a lot of people were surprised. I think because of my ability to learn something very quickly, I catch something quickly. I would tell you that until 11th grade, I didn't know anything about English.
Wow.
I couldn't speak any word in English. Yeah. And I was so lucky that in my 12th grade, I had a really amazing English teacher in my class. He's so funny and inspiring. He taught English in a way that I really get it, and then I pick it up. I become the top student again about English, and I decided to, just 1 year, apply for a language school for my university. And I got it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
But
really
hearing you speak right now, I wouldn't have known that if you didn't tell me that part, right? I thought, I do not know about the schooling system in Vietnam, but I assumed that at some point you'll be learning languages, foreign languages like English.
Yeah.
But do you all learn it in school or no? You don't until a certain age, like 11th grade, like you're saying.
Yeah, I remember my when I was in school. I think it started around 10th grade. It's quite late. It's quite late. Yeah.
How,
Yeah.
how
Now,
old is 10th grade? How old is 10th grade? I'm trying to figure out how old is that?
16, 15.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But now big thing changed, so a lot of the kids study English quite early. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Okay. So yeah, continue. Just wanted to ask that to
That's
clarify.
the story. And I remember one time, like at my I think it's about to go to. I was about to go to university. We didn't have enough money. So luckily that my parents managed to sell the house because we didn't have enough finance. So I got the money because otherwise I couldn't really go to school. So I felt very lucky, even though it's not a good, like a fortunate thing happened to our family, but it was a good thing because I could have a chance to go to university. And also at that time I had to be independent because my parents moved to another province to live, and I have to be here alone to study and trying to finish my school. So yeah, I was so worried about that, because I know that I can do so well in school, but I was worried I couldn't go to school.
Wow. Yeah. That is really a real fear, because especially if you know you can ace school, right? I mean, you can really do so well and you have so much in you that you want to do, and that fear of not being able to do it or get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you persevered, and here you are.
Yeah, I think that's also build up my personality over time. I think that's why I believe in storytelling or personal story, because we who we are today is influenced by a lot of things happened to us in the past that build up our personality, character, and belief, and thinking about life.
Yeah. And what are you doing right now? I mean, I know you graduated from college, but that's not the end of the story, right?
You mean like from my university to now?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically after my university, I went to work for a few other jobs, small job. Like I do I went to join the real estate company as a sales agent just a few months, and I think it didn't work for me. And then I moved to work for and then I met my old boss. He has a wine company, and I remember that time I was showing the potential client, to the apartment, and I met him at the building, and we just exchanged some conversation. He said, "Oh, I'm looking for assistant. You want to join me?" I said, "Yeah, sure. Give me the car. I'm gonna email you." So I basically emailed him, and he asked me to come for an interview. And the funny thing about this is that when I really share this with everybody. So when he got into the interview with me, and you know what he asked me in that interview question? He asked me that, "Do you know who is the president of Vietnam?" And I answered correctly. He said, "Wow, I'm so surprised," because the thing is, because in Vietnam, not a lot of back then, a lot of young Vietnamese really pay attention a lot to politics and what's happening around. Yeah, so he was surprised and say, "Yeah, join us." And then I worked for that company for 1 year, and I think that's great opportunity for me to practice my English, because my boss is Australian, my old boss, and I have to speak with him in English every day. So I think English also you have to really practice to learn any new language, because that allow you to get used to the new languages, right? So yeah, I worked there for 1 year, and then I got a job to work for a software company from Europe. They're trying to establish the office here. I was one of the team members who helped them to set up the office here, operate the organization here, and also expand the business for them here for like 4 years. And then something happened with the market, and they decide to move back to go back to the Europe. And at that time, actually, I already volunteered for an NGO, and I got that chance because I remember I just finished university, and I met one friend. He's still my very good friend now. He was one of the co-founder of the NGO from the US, from San Jose. It's an NGO provide like education supply to the kids in the remote area. And that was the first time they organized a trip to Vietnam and visit the school. And I was invited to be a volunteer, join the trip. And then I went with them to Mekong Delta, and I went to visit a house where a single mother with a daughter, and she couldn't afford her daughter to go to school. And I was just listening to her story. I was like crying, but I'm trying to hide it because I feel a little bit embarrassed back then. But that moment really opened my eye and my mind, because I felt like, even though I'm come from a not privileged background, but I'm still can do a lot of things. I can do so many things that I can support and help other people to do it better, to improve their life. So it's also opened my world in terms of the inequality and opportunity for a lot of people. Not many people have this opportunity. So that's why I think, okay, I want to do more of this work. That's the first time I also experienced NGO sector, like volunteer and philanthropy. So I volunteered for that NGO for like 4 or 5 years. And then I got to the job after the software company. Right now I'm working for a local NGO named Lin Center for Community Development. We are local nonprofit, support other grassroots local nonprofit with information, capacity, network, and funding. By working with company, individual who want to engage and support the local nonprofit community in Vietnam. So we like a hub where we trying to facilitate, build a partnership between nonprofit and corporate, nonprofit and individual philanthropy in Vietnam to do good. Yeah. So and then last October, during pandemic here, I was thinking, okay, I want to do something. And I remember back then, right after I finished my university, I met my mentor, and also a lot of different people, and because I came from that kind of humble background. So to be honest, I was feel a little bit intimidated meeting new people outside of my LA. And I feel a little bit embarrassed about where I came from. So that's usual because, you know, you're coming from not privileged background. When you meet people who seem to make it, you know, like very successful, and you feel like, oh, I don't know a lot of things. I feel nervous, worry, and I don't want to talk about my childhood, you know. But the more I talk to a lot of people, I feel like everybody have the same issues, like struggle and problems and goal and dream. And the one thing that make me love storytelling is that when I listen to those people's story, that make me feel very connected and relevant. Because, you know, even though these people are coming from different background than I am, but they really have the same struggle or problem in their life, and they want to do good too. So that's why I feel connected. I think if they can do this, I can do this too. So that's why it's made me love the storytelling. And now when and then my job now, I had a lot of chance to meet a lot of great people who want to do good into society, and it motivated me every day. But the thing is, I have this opportunity, but not many people have this opportunity, especially young Vietnamese, uh, who like I was once before. And
You're still young, Kelly.
yeah, but I was a student. I didn't know what to do. And then, you know, also people from remote area, even so, they don't have a lot of opportunity like this. So I want to bring this story to the young Vietnamese here to see, yes, even though we come from different background, yeah, but we still want the same thing for our life. We want to have a happy and meaningful life. And how we can get there, connect with other people, learn from other people's story, and reflect your own story. And I think the more you understand who you are, the more you feel confident. Like now, I can share about my story.
Yeah. And there's no feeling uncomfortable, there's no feeling embarrassment about it, because I think everyone has a great story to tell. It's
Yes,
just that you have to get that story out from that person. And that's
yes,
also possibly the reason why we connected so well. Both of us are podcasters. Both of us know that there's a story in every person that we meet, right? And every story has its own learnings, lessons, beautiful wisdom in there. But somebody just has to be that connector, I would say, to bring those stories out so that other people can listen and other people can benefit from these stories,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
absolutely.
We actually have a question, Kelly. So I have to stop you in a little bit and just we have this question from this person called
Mm.
Javier Secadoras. What are
Ah,
good places to meet other entrepreneurs in Ho Chi Minh
great
City?
question. Yes,
Yeah,
I
thank
think
you.
yeah, in actually Saigon is Ho Chi Minh City is very like dynamic environment where you met a lot of people because you know we are one of the most developed city in Vietnam, like economic hub. So a lot of people come into Vietnam, Saigon to start a business and follow their dream. So there's a lot of entrepreneur here, even from overseas they coming to Vietnam and starting on business. So it's a lot of like hub club network that you can join in Saigon. You can even go to Facebook and search some name, and you can find a lot of like club like that in Vietnam or network like that in Vietnam, and you can join. And then because Saigon, even though it's big, but it's not that big. If you hang out in the same circle, you will see the same faces, and you will know all the club it. So if you manage to go to Saigon, yeah, happy to share with you more about the entrepreneur here in Vietnam. I met so many of them through my work, and also now I'm friend a lot of like entrepreneur in Vietnam. Yeah,
And you're also part of this women's, if I'm not mistaken, women's empowerment. Isn't it? Did I
women
get it
empowerment
correct?
club, women
Yeah,
empowerment.
Women Empowerment Club, where you're helping and you're also contributing your time and energy.
Yes, yeah. I mean, because I was one of the alumni, the first alumni of the club, and I love the idea of the club and the mission because it's very um, it's always trying to make is a meaningful experience for all the members, and also because it started. So this club funded by the U.S. consulate in Ho Chi Minh City, and it started by a amazing lady called Felicity. She's Australian. Back then, she worked for RMIT University. But when I talk to her or I talk to people, join the club, she always share that, you have to make it a local lead by local Vietnamese. Yeah. So I started it, yes, happened to
Hmm.
started it. But
Yeah.
Vietnamese women should be the one who lead this, not me, a foreigner. So I love that philosophy because I always believe in, only the local people can really change
Understand.
our life. Yes.
Understand and understand the context, right, that they are working in and they're living in. Yeah. So Javier, if you're in Saigon, connect with Kelly, and
Yeah.
she'll probably introduce you to lots more other
Uh,
entrepreneurs, men and women. Yeah,
yeah. You can
yeah,
connect me on Facebook or LinkedIn. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so thank you for the question. Very good question, I would say. Okay, so now let's get back to, okay. So now you've told us about your life, growing up in Saigon, as well as how you had opportunities open up for you, and then you started your, because of that, right? You decided to share more stories with other
Mm.
people and want to have these stories spread out to more people. So you're using a podcast as a platform for that.
Yeah.
And tell us more about the podcast.
I remember that when I first had the idea, it was in July last year, and like from July to October, I launched it like in three months. It was quite fast for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Because
that is really fast. That's
yeah,
really fast, I must say.
actually, it's like I say, it's like part of my personality or my belief that I like to do new things and test new things, new ideas, and I love to working on something challenging. And I want to do something like, if I have an idea, I want to test it and see how it's look like. Because if you don't have the product or like the service, nobody gonna know whether it's work well or not. You need a lot of feedback, right, to improve your products. So that's why I want to just let it out and let people listen. If they like it, they will follow. If something I need to improve, I'm gonna improve. Yeah. But the thing is about this podcast is, that's why I feel so motivated and inspired every day, because that's also the power of storytelling. I remember when I shared this idea to two partners right now. One is Rise Content and Media. They actually like a production company and also content company in Vietnam. I got to know them through Lin. Yeah, they support Lin a lot in a lot of NGO. Another company called Soul Branding, working on brand identity and brand consulting. So both company also support Lin and a lot of NGO here. So when I share with them my idea, they say, "Yeah, let's do this." And basically, they help me for free. Yeah, I
Mm,
just came up with the idea, the content, with the speaker, with the interviewees, character, and invite them. They have a studio. They have me set up. The branding company helped me design the logo and the website and everything. So I think it's amazing because when I share the story, I share what I want to do. I think they also share the vision about the community here. So that's why they want to have me. That's why I think idea is very cheap. To be honest, you can come up with a lot of idea, but how
mm,
you can turn the idea to a product, because you can convince a lot of people to join you, to support you,
yeah.
and how you implement that, right? Implemented that. So because when you share, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I have the same vision, I have the same mission. Let me join you." If you cannot do everything alone, right? You need team. So that's why I think the more you understand why you want to do this and you share it clearly to people, people will see, "Oh,
To
this is
support
something I
you.
also want to do, and I will support you." So that's the
Mm.
beauty of it, and I think that's make me very motivated and inspired, because I how could I been here if they didn't support me, right? So that's really beautiful. I'm really happy.
Okay. So it means that what you do is you go into a studio and you bring your guests into the studio, and both of you start recording the
Mm.
podcast episode, and then your partners or your co-founders will help you put it together,
Yeah,
as in like
yeah.
make sure that it's ready for publishing.
Yes, yes. Because otherwise, it's quite hard for me to make it very fast like that. You need to learn a lot of, like, you are a podcaster yourself. A lot of things to learn
Yeah.
about technology, to edit, to add video to add sound and audios and everything, or effects. So it's good that they help me for that particular things like editing technology. So I edit the content, but they will help me to turn it into the podcast version. So that's great. I also want to share that for my podcast, when I started it, I tried to think the way that I should bring out the storytelling. So that's why I apply the concept more like a storytelling, like from that character sharing about the story rather than using the interview format. Maybe in the future I will explore other option, but I think I trying to make it like, because the name, if you look at the name of the show, is DL Community. The idea of the whole brand identity is about communication, a letter to your community. You want to share your thinking, your hope, your goal, and your thought, deep like thinking about the community. You wanted to make it better. So it's trying to make it like a letter from that person to the community that they belong. So that's why I interview them, and I have to make sure that this is like they are telling their story. I'm just a narrator, like adding the narrative to make it like a story. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the website, right? dlcommunity.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now I know you podcast in Vietnamese.
Right. Yes.
So that is really, really 100% for your local community. But recently, I know you shared with me an interview in English where you spoke to someone and you got her story out of her. Would you like to talk about that specific English interview?
This is funny because I at the beginning when I think about the language, I mean I can do in English for sure, but for me I feel Vietnamese language podcast not a lot available in Vietnam. So I remember back then I read the study. They say that around the world English speaking podcast is around more than 1 million show, but in Vietnam only around 500 600 show speaking in Vietnamese. And I think that's actually quite limitation, because for me can speak English. I listen to English very well, so I can share
Do
for
both.
information or learn about something with the English speaking podcast, right? Anything in my hand. But not a lot of Vietnamese can do that, because a lot of them can speak or even listen to English very well. So that's why I want to use Vietnamese as a language. So and also the content around Vietnamese language podcast is mainly around business, self-development, tips about going to study overseas, for example. That's a lot of them like that. I haven't seen any, maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't seen a lot of podcasts talking about, in Vietnamese, talking about social impact and storytelling. So that's why I want to be the first one and help these, bring this story to Vietnamese people, especially young Vietnamese, and also in rural area, to have this kind of information. Yeah, to access to this kind of information. Yeah, that's why I started as a Vietnamese podcast. But then the funny thing, the more I did, I mean, I'm so surprised. I keep doing this because I think that's the right thing to do. And then one day, I got connected by a friend, a mutual friend, to the U.S. consulate, and they just approached me and they say, "Oh, we want to approach to young Vietnamese and also make it more young for U.S. consulate in Vietnam, like in terms of the content and also communication." The team behind it's really great. I met all of them, super talented people. And I talked to them. I say, "Oh, I want, of course. I mean, that's amazing that you want to make it younger for the audience, and because a lot of Vietnamese people here. I mean, we have a very young population, and they're very active. And I think that the best way to communicate to Vietnamese people and the future of Vietnamese people, right, is talking to young people." And I talked to that person, and he said, "Oh, I want the Consul General of the United States in Ho Chi Minh City to be on your show." I said, "Oh, interesting." I mean, of course, he's gonna speak in the CG, the Consul General is gonna speak in English, but we can do subtitle. The idea that why I want to invite her on my show, because I need a lot of inspiring story, and her story is really inspiring. And also, I want it to help to raise awareness about their community, through U.S. Consul General page and information. So that's why I say okay, maybe. And also I want to finish the season 1 in June this month. I think it's the best way to find something special to finish season 1. So that's why I get okay, let's do this. And also I remember that back then I met the British Consul General Emily. She invited me to join a private tea time talking about women leadership. And I told her about a podcast. And she said, oh, if anything that I can do to support, let me know. I said, okay, interesting. Back then I keep it in my mind. But I was thinking, okay, how about two, like one British Consul General and another one, a US Consul General, to be the 2 last guests on my podcast show after season 1. That would be very fascinating. Yeah, so that's what happened now. And the next one, the last one of the US Consul General, going to be published next Wednesday.
Wow, that is so amazing. I'm so happy for you because I do know that when I checked out your podcast and all that, it was all in Vietnamese. So I couldn't really understand much of it. But then when you sent me the link to the interview with the British Consul General,
yeah,
I thought, okay, that's great because now finally I can understand it. But I know your podcast is meant for young Vietnamese to inspire them and to get them to think about the world in a different way, right?
Yeah,
I guess that's also to inspire them in that way.
Yeah, and also I think, of course the language will be barrier, but for me, I think a community is about, you don't have to be Vietnamese to care about Vietnam, right? If you love Vietnam, you care about Vietnam.
Yeah.
I want to feature that story because I want everybody to see that, doesn't matter where you come from, what your background, either you are consul general or the normal people on the street. If you care about Vietnam, you want to do good for the community here, I would love to feature the story.
Yeah. So anyone who's listening right now or watching right now, if you you are living in Vietnam or you have something to do with Vietnam and you feel that your story is interesting enough, why don't you contact Kelly? Can I say that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Definitely it will be interesting for her to reach out to even more people and get more people on her podcast. And,
yes.
Okay, so right now, after I know you have you end with episode 17, is that correct?
Yes, that's
episode
right.
17 next week with the US Consul
General.
Consul General. Okay, is that a man or woman?
She's woman.
Woman. Okay, another woman. That's great.
Yes.
So this past 17, okay, 16 and 17, we wouldn't count that since that one is a little different. So from 1 to 15, what are the kinds of people that you've been talking to or sharing the stories? What kinds of people have you put on your podcast?
Yeah, I mean, of course, because you have to start it when you start something new. You want to start with somebody you know. And the thing about my podcast, I want to focus on authentic story. So that's why I'm quite careful about who I want to interview. The reason because you want to make it authentic, and you really see that those people actually doing something like on the ground. So that's why I started with somebody that I already know in my network, and actually I have lucky I have a strong network, so I have a chance to meet those people and also know those people. And it's interesting because when I talk to them and I listen to their story, I learn more about them even more. I mean, before maybe we mutual friend, we're friends, but the more I listen to their story, the more I feel know better about them as a friend. So I interview at the beginning. I start to interview people that I know, and I have to listen to their story first, understand what the key point, the key message or powerful story behind it. Then I can ask them to share that with the audience. So the people on my podcast show is very diverse, from like working from in NGO sector, like cultural, mental health, women empowerment, sustainable development, also like education and youth development, and also working at the university for servant learning. So it's very diverse. That's what I love about. And also another thing I want to share that when people think about Vietnam, a lot of people overseas think about Vietnam, they would see or think that it's very like black and white or something like, they associate Vietnam with the war, Vietnam War. And, also the poverty and like, it's a lot of things that is very simple for them. But I want to bring that nuance, like different voices in Vietnam. We have different interests, we have different voice, we have different goal, and that's the beauty of that. I want to bring it out so people, when they listen to Vietnamese leader, local people in Vietnam, they see that we're very diverse, we have different voices, we have different thinking, but at the end of the day, we want to do good for the community, we want to improve it better. So that's what I want to do.
That is great. So now I want to pull up a comment.
Yeah.
This is a friend of mine. This is a friend of mine who lives in the US. Hi, Dean. Dean is, yeah. So Dean is also he's, what can I say, American Vietnamese. So yes, so he says it's nice to see other Vietnamese professionals elevating the country. There's a lot of good opportunities in the country right now. Yes, yes, Dean. So I've always been teasing him. I would say, hey, you got to go back to Vietnam for a visit. So he's been promising. Yeah, he's been saying, yes, I must. But of course, now with the pandemic and restricted travel and all, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But I really do hope, that all of us get to visit Vietnam, because I was there last year, just before the lockdown, and I had a short trip, but I really would like to go back again. And now that I have so many friends there, and basically, I think my Vietnamese friends, the count is increasing.
Yes, you
through
you,
through Tran, through a couple of my other friends. I mean, I'm getting to know so many wonderful, amazing Vietnamese women. So I really hope that one day I get back there and meet all of you face to face instead of virtually.
Yes.
Okay, so he says soon. Yes, Dean, you must get there. And you can connect with Kelly, and she'll open up, other doors for you too, and get to meet new friends in your country. So okay, so now that we have talked about that, so let's talk about the entrepreneurship part. Yeah, because when you started this podcast in June last year, you are with Lin, right? Lin is the nonprofit organization that you're in, that you are helping. Also, in a way, that also opens up many opportunities for you to meet other Vietnamese, right, in different sectors in the community. So how has podcasting changed a little bit about what you're doing right now, what you're going to do for the future?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, my personality, if I have any idea, I want to test this. I want to see how it's look like. As long as it's make me happy, something that I love to do, I want to test it. So I did test this last year, and since October I launched it. Till now, I got a lot of support, and also a lot of people pay attention to this, and I feel very happy and motivated. Yes, I'm working with Lin now. I've been with Lin for like more than 3 years, and nearly like 3.5 years. Yes, and Lin work is so meaningful. I mean, what Lin does here in Vietnam is so important, very important. But for me, as a individual, or like myself as a person, I want to do something more, like something I can test these new things every day and learn about it. And I think that describes entrepreneur trying to test different things and learn it from different things. So I started to think, okay, now, if I want to be serious about this, I mean, if you do it as a hobby, that's fine. But if you want to be serious about it, you need to invest time, right? Invest time in your initiative and project or organization. So I say, okay, maybe I should invest more time. But because the work, I mean, if you have to juggle two things at the same time, it can be challenging, and it may not good for both things, right? So that's why I think, okay, maybe I should focus more on my new initiative, and I think that's a lot of potential. And for me, I always believe that it doesn't matter where you work or what you do; it's all linked together. And if you do something good, it's gonna contribute to that good too, to a lot of things, right? So that's why I think, okay, maybe I should invest this more time with their community. That's why I decided to transition. Like I'm gonna no longer work at Lin after August, after the big conference that we have. But I will continue to work with Lin because, I love the mission and I believe the mission and I love everybody there, the team member. So I hope that through my new venture and also my capacity, I can do something even more, not just stop at working at Lin, right? So I can do a lot of things with Lin, support Lin, bring people to Lin, and that's what my mission. And I think, it's about the value that you bring to the table. It's not like where you work or the title or anything.
Yeah. So before we go on, I just want to just bring up this one. I think I copied it out. Yeah, this is called LIN, right? LIN Center for Community Development, a Vietnamese non-governmental
Yeah.
organization.
If
So
you want to learn anything about nonprofit sector, philanthropy, doing good, you have to know Lin. Yeah, it's an amazing organization.
yeah. The other thing that you didn't mention was that, let me see, you're also one of the Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative Professional Fellows Program for 2020.
Yes.
So yeah, talk to us about that. You're pretty accomplished. You're pretty accomplished.
No, I mean, I love learning things. I love exchange information and connect with different amazing people. So when I saw that opportunity, and I think, okay, and also they have different team like economic, empowerment, environment, and another team called civic engagement. And I love civic engagement. Exactly what I'm doing at Lin too. And every day it's like trying to get people understand more about the society, want to do good, engage with the community. So I want to learn more about it and experience on the ground what are the NGO or organization in the US. That program is started by the President Obama, and it's funded by US State Department. And I applied for that in 2020. I got accepted as one of the cohort of 2020 program for civic engagement. Unfortunately, the COVID happened, so that's why I couldn't go to US. Not yet. Maybe, hopefully, we're still talking about when we can go. Hopefully, early next year. But really, it's important to see because US has a lot of history about civic engagement. And then I want to learn from the expert and the people on the ground, and so connect with the leader from because this is the leader come from different country in Asia, like Southeast Asia. So it's really cool.
Yeah. So I found that out about you. So that's really cool too. And I hope you get to go to the US, because if you do go to the US, remember to connect with Dean. He's there.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes,
So lots of people around. And this is, I think, the world is getting smaller.
Yeah.
I feel that, at some point, everyone kind of gets connected in one way or another. So that's the beauty. I would say that's the beauty and the blessing of being locked down, is that we start to explore different avenues to connect with people around us in other countries too. So that's how I got you to be on my show. Otherwise, I would have to probably go over to Vietnam and to talk to you.
Yeah, that's true. Now we have to be adaptable. To do our work.
Okay, so we're about to come to the end of our show today, but I just want to ask you, what's in the future now that you're going to transition out from working for Lin, the NGO that you've been working for and you love? I know you really love that work, but I know that there's a different let's call it different season for you, whereby now you want to really try something on your own and use the podcast as a content platform to help other Vietnamese in your country. So what's in the future for Kelly, and what's in the future for Dear Our Community, as well as the other people who are supporting your initiative?
Yeah, great question. I think for me, this is my personal mission. I always trying to do something that I feel very happy and inspired every day. So something that I think that I can contribute to other people or add value to other people. So no matter where I'm gonna head it to, even with their community or in the future, I'm gonna be focused on the same things. Because I only strongly believe in human potential. For me as a person, my story I share with you, we all have the potential. But the thing is, not everybody have the same supportive environment, right? And at some point in our life, we need opportunity to change our life. And I want to be that person to give the opportunity or offer those opportunity to people, especially young Vietnamese, like I was before, that they can unlock their potential to live a happy life and meaningful life. Doesn't matter where they work or in the environment or in any sector like NGO business or starting on business or working for government. As long as you think this is something that you make you happy and meaningful and you can contribute to the society. So that's what I'm gonna focus on, trying to bring solution or something that can unlock the potential of a lot of Vietnamese here in Vietnam. For the community, what I want to do is to build it up as something like a very well-known and trusted content for young Vietnamese when they think about social impact and think about storytelling. When they want to unlock themselves, like unlock the potential, and because in Vietnam, if you read about Vietnam a little bit, you see a lot of young Vietnamese have a lot of pressure because we have a lot of pressure from from the family, from the society, from school, from peers. So it's quite hard for them to actually find a job or think about the future that they love to do. I hope through their community they can unlock that potential, understand about themselves, and they feel confident about it, and they can do something to contribute. That's what I want to do for their community.
So does it mean that if they're living in Vietnam and they're doing something in Vietnam, it's like something for you to bring stories of the local people? What about the people who are Vietnamese but not in Vietnam? Is there even a potential? So
Yes,
I'm just
definitely,
thinking out. Yeah. Pardon?
Sure, sure. I mean, this is something I have in my mind, and I have some idea, but I want to trying to do it step by step. I think,
Yeah.
I know for sure a lot of like Vietnamese American or Vietnamese overseas want to move back to Vietnam and contribute to. So how can I bring that together? So I'm gonna work on that.
So you're gonna think about, because I would believe one of the greatest things about being having a platform like this, like I understand it because I also have my own podcast, is that people are very willing to come and talk about themselves on the
Yeah,
podcast. And everyone has, like I said in the beginning, everyone has a story and they love to share their stories. But it's also about us putting the right story out there.
yeah,
Can I say that? It's the right story out there, right? It's not just
absolutely.
any story, but just the right story out there. And the right story will resonate with the right people.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like a virtuous cycle. Then they come back and say, hey, I know this, and you can connect with this person. So I guess the power and the beauty of podcasting is that you are never short of people that you can talk to.
Yeah, true, very true. I totally agree because I think the more we share, the more we feel connected, the more we feel we're not that much different. Because
Yeah.
when we don't share, we feel this is only us that's going through this trouble or problem. But no, I don't think so. Everybody have the same issues about we want to have a happy life, a meaningful life, but how are we gonna get there? So sharing your story, talking about it, or listen to other people's story, that would help you to feel motivated and inspired, and also connected with other people.
Okay. And a final question before we end our show is what have you learned
Mm.
as a result of starting your podcast?
Yeah, I mean, I learned so much, but I want to focus talking about what I learned is the power of the uh, personal story, like your story. I think a lot of people ask me, um, what are the challenge when I'm doing this kind of podcast, asking people story. I think one of the more challenging things for this is building trust with your interviewee, the people you interview. Because this is not only that you're talking about their work, but they talk about their personal life, right? So when you want to bring that out, because not everybody want to be comfortable, they're not comfortable to share their personal story with the public. So I have to build trust with them to let them understand that this is powerful things, and you need to share that so people can feel inspired and help them to do something themselves. So build trust is very important. The second thing is, you know, you understand people in a deeper level through listen to their story. So for example, one of the episode that I interviewed somebody and I sent it to a mutual friend, and that mutual friend said, oh my God, I didn't really know this person deep enough until I listened to your story. So that's the beauty of storytelling. It's make you feel connected and closer to that person as an individual. So I think that's really amazing. I learned so much the power of storytelling. It helped a lot of people to understand about themselves. So I just trying to, you know, bring that and build trust, and you know, trying to be curious about their life story, because the more you're curious, the more you will be learning.
Love those insights. Yeah, I agree with you completely on the trust, because sometimes if you don't trust a person, you're not going to open up about what you've gone through in your life.
Yes.
And you're not going to tell the real stories, because there are two kinds of stories. One is a story that we want to tell the world and we want the world to perceive us, right, by. The other story is the real story, the story that we know it's in us, but it's sometimes hard to tell the story, right? It's a tough story to tell. So it takes a lot of trust to really open up in front of someone who probably doesn't know you so well, and you know, start talking about that part of your life. Maybe like what I asked you in the beginning of this show is that tell us a little bit about where you grew up. And because we already know each other a little bit more, so it was easier for you to open up about that, right? Compared to if I was like completely, I didn't know you at all, and say, hey Kelly, tell me your story, and it'd be like, I'm not telling you my story, because you wouldn't understand at all. So so that is that is really, really true. Like you have to really build trust before the person can open up and really get into the real sharing that they want to share from the heart. So fantastic. So thank you so much for spending your 1 hour with us today and telling us your story. And I really look forward to next week's episode that's coming out, the final one, episode 17 for Dear Our Community. So all of you who are watching or listening, do check it out. It's dearourcommunity.com. That final episode will be in English, right? So
and we interviewed the U.S. Consul General in Vietnam.
Yeah, that is such a fantastic thing. So before we leave, I'm going to pull up Dean's comment. I'm in DC. The Vietnamese food here is good, but better in Vietnam. Okay.
I love Bún Bò Huế. That's good.
What is that? What is Bún Bò Huế?
It's from Huế. You see the name in the central part of Vietnam is like a beef noodle with a lot of spices and flavor in it. Yeah, beautiful. Yummy.
Okay. Like next round, Kelly, when I visit you,
I will take you to a good Bún Bò Huế.
Okay. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching and for sharing with us and leaving wonderful comments. I've had such a great time speaking to Kelly. Of course, we didn't go into the technical parts about starting your podcast and all that, because today's episode is not about that. Today's episode is about Kelly's journey as a podcaster, and why she decided to do this for her young Vietnamese friends. Even though she herself is young, I don't know why she keeps saying that she's not young, but she's younger. Okay, younger as in what? College. And
graduate. Yeah, a few years. Yes.
Okay, so she keeps saying that she's not, but I believe she's young. Okay, so one more time, dearourcommunity.com in case you missed that. And yes, if you have anything that you want to ask her, which we didn't cover today, please reach out to her. You have a contact form on your website. So yeah, reach out to her, connect with her on LinkedIn and Facebook, and have fun. Because I think the whole idea today is we are able to connect easily with everyone across the world. So thank you so much, everyone. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another episode where this time I'm featuring a father-daughter team who are running a business together.
That's amazing.
So they'll be coming in 2 weeks' time. So So thank you once more, Kelly. Thank you, everyone. If you're watching this on the replay, enjoy sharing this with your friends and the people around you. Yes. I will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista, for inviting me. Take
Thank
care.
you. Take care.